So she looks at it like all I'm out is the $20 that I bet. You know what I mean? That was never my money. I look at it like, oh my God, I have that money already. You know
The
what I
one that's
mean?
already been won. Yeah.
Right. So if I lose it, it's like, fuck. To me, I lost it. To her, it's like, oh, I never had it, you know? But
I would
that
look at it the same way.
she's got balls though, dude. She bets like she'll bet like $100. Like
Can
she'll
you hear
bet
the
like,
cars?
huh?
Can you hear the cars
No,
passing? Okay,
mm-mm,
that's
not at
not
all. Like on Derek Lewis, she put $200 on Derek Lewis. Like I knew he was gonna win. Like Derek, it was a Joaquin Buckley and Derek Lewis parlay. Speaking of Joaquin Buckley, motherfucker couldn't wrestle to save his life. He wrestles with you, and then you just did you see what he looked like, bro?
I saw him doing a bunch of takedowns in the highlights. I actually didn't see the fight.
Dude, he was doing power doubles. He was like a fucking train running through. And the guy that he is wrestling or fighting rather, is
Uzbekistan guy, yeah.
dude. He's 6'4". He's a fucking monster. Dude, Buckley was just it was crazy to watch. Yeah, he won. He beat him.
Yeah, maybe he got the rub training with me that one time.
He got something. He got something, bro. He got something because he looked good. So let's see here. We still got a few minutes. Fucking
Paulson,
um
bro. Cannot wait to get Paulson.
yeah, that one's gonna
Trippiest,
be fun.
trippiest motherfucker I've ever met.
I bet. Now is he Barnett is one of his coaches, right? Or he
Students.
coached Barnett.
Yeah, yeah. And then being around both of them was wild.
Oh my God, bro. I need one out in one game. And then the other game, they just came into the bottom. So holy
You're gonna freak out on stream.
to John Fitch, $1,000 ain't shit. The motherfucker. Well, he doesn't. Okay, so 335 million, and then you figure 40% of that's going to go to the lawyers. Okay, and then Nate Rock Quarry, John Fitch, and Kung Lee were the three primary plaintiffs. Now, because you need at least three for a class action lawsuit. There was other guys that jumped on the bandwagon. However, those three guys that originally brought the lawsuit are going to get the majority of it. So you figure 335, just fuck it, say 50%. What is that,
I have
170?
no idea, bro. No
That's about
idea.
170 million. You figure fucking take, say $135 million divided by the fighters, dude. There's not, I would say less than 100 fighters probably qualify for it.
Doing pretty
Yeah, bro, dude. And Chael Sonnen and him, oh, well, I guess he said some bad shit about Chael. Um, and then Chael fired back. And it's interesting because
well.
bless you, I actually completely agree with Chael's side of it. And his side of it basically was or is, okay, you so his side of it is to John
Keep going. I can
Fitch.
hear you just grabbing the sand.
Yeah, his side of it to John Fitch is, okay, you were paid right. Like the UFC never promised you something and then didn't deliver. They delivered on everything they told you they would. Your gripe is they made too much money and now you're bitter. And I totally agree with that. That's exactly what it was. But does that mean he's wrong? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just found it interesting because, yeah, you never heard one of those guys say, yeah, the UFC promised me $250,000 on the fight day and they never delivered. No, that's not what it was about. It was about, um,
They made way too much to pay.
yeah, exactly. It was about you guys weighed way too much and didn't pay us enough. That's what it was about. And I mean, hey, like there's arguments to be made all around. Like there's the argument, well, you shouldn't have signed it. But at the same time, it's like, well, they're the only game in town. You know, I don't know. I
True.
don't know. It's complicated, But I remember talking to John like 20, it was like 2016, like the same year you and I met. When I was doing the podcast. It was like right around that same time as when I first started talking to John. And he had already been like 3 years in deep in this lawsuit. It's just crazy to see it finally being finished because so many people never thought it would get this far, like
Real.
because they had two and one of them got thrown out right away. Um, but yeah,
To be going for this long is crazy.
huh?
The
Oh, I
fact that it's gone
know.
so long.
I know. Dude, that's what they do. They drag shit on and they finally settled days before it was set to go to trial.
Wow.
That's what they do. They do the same thing when you're going for when you're going like when you're charged with a crime. They do the same thing, like they won't, your attorney is trying to cut a deal and they won't budge. They won't budge. So you're going to bring it to trial. And the day of the trial, they'll come with you to the deal. It's like, you couldn't have done this 3 months. No, the thing is they wanted to fuck you. They want to fuck you into the last minute. And when they realize there's a chance that they might not get to fuck you, they settle for fucking you a little bit lighter. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
That's why DuPage County has a 99% conviction rate. It's not because their lawyers are the best. It's because they they cut deals and that technically counts as a win for them. You know what I mean?
They get something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even oh here, he's coming in right now, bro. Ready?
Yep.
Fucking right on time though.
What's going on?
Yo.
Let me get my headphones really quick.
Yeah, do that.
What's up, John?
How's it going, guys?
What's
Thanks for
going
coming
on,
on.
bro?
Chilling.
All right. Can
Getting,
you hear me?
getting
Can
a
you
little
hear us?
warm. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
All right, perfect.
Getting a little warm here in San Jose.
Shit. We'll take it. We're in Chicago, so we'll take a little warm, brother.
I was just in California for a week though, so I
Yeah,
just came back to this shit.
It was like we had some rain for a little bit. It was a little cold and rainy for a minute.
I like the long hair mustache look too, gotta say.
Yeah, I just it's been like 3 years. I just keep growing it. I don't know what to do with it. Girlfriend likes it, so
Looks like you could go straight into some pro wrestling. Any plans on that?
No, he's not a pro wrestling fan.
yeah, I'm not impressed.
I was just
Just,
listening to you rant about pro wrestling, how you watch the Iron Claw, but yeah, not your
Iron
cup of
Claw, it's
tea.
a good movie, but I watched that. My girlfriend convinced me to watch it, and then I also watched this movie called For the Love of Catch. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
about Gotch and origins of catch wrestling, and they make some claims about one of the catch wrestling legends training Maeda, who later went to the Gracies. So they're kind of claiming that catch Gracies actually just stole catch wrestling. They just put
Do
a
you,
gi on and they renamed all this stuff.
did you do catch
Portuguese.
wrestling too?
I've never officially done catch wrestling, but like as a fighter, like if it hurts and it
Of
works,
course.
there's plenty of things that I've come up with or I do or use that aren't necessarily things that are traditionally taught in jujitsu.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, catch is a very like top dominant controlling type style. But it was also built off of, professionals traveling and fighting hobos.
Yeah.
Take on all comers.
So like,
Yeah.
the Boston Crab could work on somebody who's never
Right.
grappled or done anything a day in his life. Yeah.
That is hilarious. That's actually what I was in California for. I've been competing lately in catch wrestling, and I was with Eric Paulson and Josh Barnett. It was Josh Barnett's tournament and a bunch of dudes from England. And actually, a lot of the people that were there and like competing and training were pro wrestlers primarily, and they're trying to like get more into the real roots of the grappling, I guess,
No,
which
it's
was
super interesting, the history of it, and I get it, because these guys, it'd be like me, like I'm gonna go make some money, so I'm gonna go on the train and I'm gonna travel, and every stop, me and my friends are gonna challenge the best guys in the land, and they're gonna place bets, and like I can't just go out there and like smash everybody, because then nobody else will want to challenge me,
right.
and nobody will place any bets. So like they would go and they would just play with these guys, oh, you've got my arm. Oh, and then they'd get out of it, and then they put them in a lock, and then they'd give something up, and they'd make it look like a close fight. And then when it was time to like get out of there, then they would win real quick and take the money and go. So I mean, it makes sense. I get it. There's a carny grifter vibe to it, and there's a realness to it. But I don't know, when you start fixing things that are sold as a legitimate sporting competition, that starts bothering me. That starts getting
Right.
to. I feel
And
like
that's
it deflates real fight competition. It lets too many bad elements, too many bad promoters and shady promoters get in there and pull strings.
100%. I agree. And with the first version of them doing that would have been like, yeah, you're beating everybody's ass. And then you have your buddy who's with you, who's also a wrestler in the crowd. And you have someone bet on him and he steps up and pretends to be a random, you
Yep.
know, nobody. And then he beats your
Yeah.
ass. Like same
Random
stuff.
traveler, and then
Yeah.
yeah, you make it make it look like a good fight, you put on a good show, and then you guys meet up out of town and have beers.
Yeah. You got to think how awesome that would have been back then to be one of those guys, though.
That's a way to make a living.
Right.
You know all about shady promoters, right?
Oh, man.
It's in their blood. It's in their blood.
I
Well,
was
it's just
just
the intermediary to take the money away from the fighters, instead of just going right to the actual competitor. There's a middleman then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the promoter is supposed to work for the athlete. That's how it's supposed to work, right? Because your job as the athlete is to fight. Your job is to fight and win. That's it. It's their job to make sure everybody knows who the hell you are. It's their job to be loud and promote you and do the advertising for you. That way you can focus on training. You shouldn't have to be like yelling in a megaphone on a soapbox telling people about your fight yourself, which is exactly what they expect you to do today in MMA, right? Like just look at the difference. Like I follow like Mayweather boxing, and you can follow uh the UFC, and like I just feel like Mayweather does a better job of like pushing their guys out there than the UFC does. It feels more like UFC and a lot of MMA promotions use the fighters' names to build their own brand rather than actually like cheering on the athlete and hyping the athlete up.
What were you going to say before, Mike?
I was gonna say, I was just telling Tom here before we went live. I think the first time I spoke with you, John, was like in 2016, and had already been involved in the lawsuit for a few years. And I just think it's so cool, man, that here we are in 2024 and it's finally resolved. And not many people thought you would come out on top, and you did, and you persevered. And I just think that's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was it's important that people remember it's only one part of a three-pronged attempt to like change the way that MMA is done in this industry. One is the lawsuit, because that's how other sports achieved their free agency and their collective bargaining agreements, either through lawsuits or through threat of lawsuits. Right? That's how all the other big sports became the big sports and started making the money, and the athletes started making the money they're making, is because the government stepped in. They had to sue or had to threaten the lawsuit. um, so we still have to encourage fighters to join the Fighters Association, the MMAFA, be active in that. If we can get everybody to sign up and pledge allegiance to the Fighters Association, we could start having votes and making decisions on what things we want to do and how we want to run things. And it's something that guys all need to come together. We need to realize that we're only gonna take care of each other because everybody else is pimping us out, like the managers, the coaches, the promoters themselves. They will stay in business. We only have a short time to compete and make money, you know. And then we also need to get guys together to help push and promote the Ali Act. We need the Ali Expansion Act. We need to get the same legal protections that boxers get um, from promoters. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't have those same protections that they get.
Do you still follow the sport? Like, do you still watch fights?
I do my show, Jon Fitch Knows Nothing, every Sunday night at 7 on the left coast. And that's where I watch whatever violence I can on the weekend. A lot of bare knuckles events. I did watch a karate combat not long ago. Sometimes the boxing events we had Canelo and Lomachenko fighting relatively recently. So you know, I'm always watching something, and then I talk about it on the show. And I started doing another show on Wednesday nights called Loose Change, and it's just a continuation of my other podcast show. Because sometimes during the week, other things happen and pop up worth talking about. So I'll talk about whatever weird thing popped up in the middle of the week.
I
Loose Change. Do you remember that documentary about
yeah,
Twin Towers?
Yeah.
That was called Loose Change, wasn't it? That's what it reminded me of.
that's immediately what came to mind too. I was gonna say though, John, that you're the perfect guest for this show because, like me being a grappler and a martial artist, and Mike being MMA journalist, and we've had that crossover with a lot of fighters and the conspiracy aspect. But like your career kind of has a conspiracy to it, like even before the whole lawsuit, because you're on a great win streak. You're a top
Oh,
contender for the
I
longest time.
the career pivot of what happened to me, like from I basically had two careers. I had pre contract dispute and post contract dispute, right? Pre contract dispute was all my fights leading up to GSP, the GSP fight, and in a short time after that, right? And then we had the video game dispute, and then yeah, I went from the next greatest thing. You know, I was 8-0 going into the fight with GSP, so I was 8-1 with 4 finishes. Everybody thought I was, you know, great and loved watching me fight. I headlined stuff and whatever, and then contract dispute, and then oh, he's not very good. He's boring. He's not entertaining. Nobody wants to watch him fight. They stopped even interviewing me after fights, just because they know, like if you want to build notoriety and a base of fans, like they need to hear you talk. They need to see you after the fight. They need to get a human element of you after the fight. So if you're just rushed out the cage after your fight, I noticed they've done it to a few guys
Oh yeah,
recently too, where they don't interview them after the fight. That's not an accident. It has nothing to do with timing or oh, we don't have enough time to fit all the fights in. Bullshit. Right? They have enough time. They have enough time to do 2 3 minute interview, talk to somebody. They choose not to take that time because they don't want people to get to know that fighter. They don't want that guy to be identifiable. They don't want anybody to start liking that guy because of something he says.
100%. And you think it arose from, you said, the video game contract or some dispute
I
over your
said no to
likeness?
them. Essentially, I said no to them, and I said no to them a few times because there was video game agreement, the uh what was it, the merchandising agreement, that was shit too, and then them trying to make me fight Koscheck, right, for a non-title fight. So I was just like, no, like I never looked at them as like, oh my God, you're the boss, you're so amazing, like I thank you for the opportunities. But they're just another promoter. Like who gives a shit? Like there'll be other promotions. There's always other promotions. There are other places to go and make money that were just as big or bigger back then. So like I was like, who is this guy? Like who are you? I never understood the people who, you know, kind of get on their knees for these people.
Right.
You're the show. Like that's why they use your name on the marquee. You're the show, not the promoter. The promoter really isn't that material. It doesn't matter as much. Like most people will never remember who the promoters are.
They were just upset you didn't want to play ball the way they did. And
Yep, I
fighting
said
against the
no.
system.
Yep, I said no to them, and that's bad because then other people see, oh, he's telling us no, that's not okay. We gotta deal with this. So, that whole thing, that whole video game agreement thing, that like they didn't contact me. They they contacted the press. They canceled my contract because I wouldn't sign, and then they went to the press and said, yeah, we cut Jon Fitch and these guys because no, we cut Jon Fitch because he's not. It was like me and Kasha because they're not signing the video gaming agreement. They put that on the press. Like, why? Why wouldn't you call us? Why wouldn't you like work with our managers? Why wasn't there communication in any way? They just went straight to the press. So I woke up to my news feed like I lost my job. I'm like, what the hell's going on? You know, like that's not an accident. That's strategic. They know what they're doing.
Do you
And then,
see?
and sure enough, after that, like, I was gonna leave, um, and go to Strike Force. I was fine with fighting for Strike Force at the time. Like I said, there was places to go. They got mad at that because I was demonstrating that I could say no to them and continue to fight and make money. So they threatened to cut all of my teammates, everybody from AKA. There's a bug in here.
Whoa.
Everybody from AKA and everybody who was represented by my management was seeking entertainment. So that means they would have cut Kane if he lost. There wouldn't have been a DC. There wouldn't have been a Rockhold. Like that. That was what they were telling me. So I was like, fine, right? I don't want to be a problem. I'll just sign the stupid video game thing. Whatever. I'm gonna win my next fights and win the title, and then you're gonna have to kiss my ass. That was my mindset. Um, but yeah, like that was a big strong arm tactic. Then everybody else who saw that, like all the signatures poured in after that little event, that little stunt. It worked 100%.
It's
Dude.
got to be so fucking frustrating to, I mean, do everything right, be a top contender, dominate all your fights essentially, like put all your hard work to use in what you think is, a legitimate sport. It's, at least as far as other sports go, you have pretty much full control over your destiny. You trained your best, you get to control the outcome. It's an individual sport. And then to still get, blacklisted and not get the title shot or have it, taken from you. Are you familiar with Bilal Muhammad?
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, yeah, they're giving him that treatment right now.
100%. That's one of my guys, one of my friends and
Acosta
training partners,
Cortez
and
this past
terrible.
weekend is getting heat from winning his fight. Like, come on, he's fighting a giant striker. You're mad at him because he used MMA, he used mixed martial arts, he used the mixed part of martial arts to like gain an advantage. I don't understand these people. One championships has small glove Muay Thai. Small glove Muay Thai. Bare knuckles exists. Like, why are you guys wasting your time watching MMA? I don't get it at all. It's like I'm gonna start going to tennis matches and be like, boo, use your feet,
Yeah.
kick the ball, you suck. Make it make sense to me. I've never understood that. I've never understood that. I don't particularly like most of this sport, but I'm gonna still watch it for the tiny piece that I like and then complain about all the stuff that doesn't fit that tiny aspect that I like.
That is a funny analogy with the tennis one. But
Yeah, it
you're
is.
right. They can watch something else if they don't like the grappling. That is the point of mixed martial arts.
It's to a point now where there's sometimes when a guy will have a takedown and side control and they'll separate him and stand him up. But it's like he worked so hard to get that position. And because he might not have moved in 10 seconds, it's because fan pressure,
No, so a
yeah.
lot of people are so clueless about the skill set of fighters today. They think the fighters today are so advanced over guys 20 years ago, 30 years ago. No, bullshit. Right? I've been watching fights from the 90s. Okay, the 90s. I was watching this like Clash of Champions 9 or something like that. It's from 1990. They filmed it in Southern California, right? It was 4-man tournament. They had 155, 70 something, 85 heavyweight. And it was no closed fist to the face, right? But they could kick to the face, they could leg kick, takedowns, full submissions on the ground, just no punching to the face. You could hit to the body, you could elbow to the body, you could headbutt to the body, just no punches to the face. These guys were skilled. They were throwing big kicks, body kicks, kicks to the legs, hitting takedowns, working submissions. They knew some ground. Like there's been a false narrative told to people about the UFC origin and the Gracies and all of this stuff, right? There were lots of guys who could have probably won the first UFC tournament easily, but they were not allowed to compete.
Yep.
Right?
There wasn't even a real wrestler in the first few.
I can't remember who the guy was. There was a guy who was like on the Olympic ladder as a wrestler, a judokan, and he had trained boxing for some years. Like that was somebody that they were trying to get into those early UFCs, and they were just like would not because he was too good, too advanced. Like there's a lot of I don't know. I've been surfing just a lot of old fights. Gracie Fighting Championships in 2007. Right, they did it in like Columbus, Ohio. Like Matt Brown, Jack O'Ray. There's a bunch of fights on that card. It was pretty great, and the skills of the guys fighting were pretty damn good. Like I wouldn't say that your average UFC fighter would have beaten any of those guys in that card. You know, like solid people, good stand up. I actually kind of think the fighters, a lot of them have gotten watered down with their skill sets because they're starting to become jacks of all trades, right? They know a
Yep.
little bit of everything, but they have never specialized and dominated in any one thing, any one field. Sorry, I got these little fucking bugs in here. Look like a crazy guy.
Well, you're on the
But
Crazy Guy podcast.
yeah,
That's for sure.
so yeah, I mean, I don't know, just I think there's something a little bit missing, and then I think there's a lot of that attitude of just getting clout chasing and just being popular. Like people are gonna know me. I'm gonna get knocked out real bad, and people are gonna know me. Like there's not really a desire to actually fight. They just want to be seen. I don't know, because you remember, man, back in the '90s, early 2000s, guys were traveling all over, sometimes out of pocket, to fight for $100, $500. Like yeah, I've driven hundreds of miles to fight for 250. Like how many guys still doing that today?
There was a lot more heart and passion and like I don't know what to call it. I guess the Zuffa era, like the height of your career kind of time, like when there
Right.
wasn't fights every single weekend and the pay-per-views was like a much more big deal and they were stacked and the like you said, the guys were more specialized in their styles. It made for interesting matchups. I don't think I'm just being nostalgic by saying that era was way more entertaining and awesome. It really just was.
I miss it.
Same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching the highlights and instantly if I see sponsors on shorts, I know it's going to be a good fight, and there's no way that you can tell me that Bas Rutten, Frank Shamrock, Guy Metzger, Dan Severn, you can't
Yeah.
tell me those guys weren't fucking talented.
Yeah. Yeah. Marco Huas.
Hmm.
I want to go back. I'm gonna try to find it, but I'm gonna go back and watch the Pride Light Heavyweight Grand Prix.
Oh
You
yeah.
guys remember that?
Hell yeah.
If any of you guys listeners back home have never seen that, dude, like it's like go do that and go watch. There was just a bunch of killers. Every fight was crazy.
Literally. And to kind of swing things in a different direction during your career, obviously we kind of went over the lawsuit and the shady like blackball and stuff, but do you have any maybe crazy or unexplainable, just kind of wild moments behind the scenes of Jon Fitch's career that would like to talk about?
Man, I
Anything?
don't know if I have anything in particular that really reminds me off the top of my head. I
What was
don't
your
know.
favorite place you got to go fight?
Well, yeah, but best trip was definitely Brazil. Right, they had a Rio card recently, and I got to fight down in Rio too, and that was great. That was Bonner Silva. I
Ooh,
fought Eric Silva down there, and I stayed a little extra. I got there a little early, and I stayed a little extra. I got to go and see the big Jesus statue and the big mountain with the cable car thing, and this was awesome, man. The food was crazy, beaches were awesome. It's great night of fights.
I'm sure that was badass.
It was pretty spectacular.
And
Yeah.
then
We like went into right on the edge of like the Amazon. We went kind of inland for a couple days. And I just one morning, like it was like a few days after the fight, wake up, have my Brazilian coffee. It's kind of like gritty, and then smoke a joint, have my coffee, and I'm looking at this giant like forest and mountain. It
hell
was
yeah,
freaking crazy, dude. It
hell
was like
yeah.
the forest washing. They talk about forest bathing, like
Oh
getting
yeah, it's a
dumped
real
out in the middle
thing.
of nowhere.
Go out barefoot, grounded.
Yeah.
Were you smoking your whole career? Because I never would have took you as a stoner back in the day.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. It was, once I got to California, it was just the best way to deal with pain and get some rest and sleep. And um, it was a way I could have a little bit of fun and not go out drinking and partying or doing whatever and not popping pills. And
Definitely.
around 2011, I started having like neck issues, and I started using that to really help with pain relief and stuff. I had a friend that OD'd. Eric Ray was a fighter. He OD'd like in 2005 from opiates, and I just wanted to stay away from pills. Like even when I had my shoulder surgery, like I didn't take any pain pills. I just mostly just smoked.
Nice. Then it should be an easy segue then. Maybe not on the fighting side, but is there any just crazier things that you believe or you get into that some people might not know that you believe in, or conspiracies, ghosts, anything? Any
I mean,
experiences
I
personal?
if you've been watching my timelines for, I mean, I've been a skeptic of the government for a very long time. I studied history in college. I've been paying attention politically. I kind of tuned out at um 2001, like weapons of mass destruction. I was like, y'all lying. This is some horse shit. Like I ain't paying attention to this shit. And then I was forced into paying attention to politics in 2008 with the financial crisis, and I purchased a home, so my house went deep under. That pissed me off, and that led me to Ron Paul, right? And a sound monetary system, and understanding that the U.S. we've been going through an economic collapse since the 70s. Right? We're like the Titanic. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, it didn't sink like in the first hour. It took like a really long time for anybody to even know that it was sinking. Well, I think people are starting to notice there's water now. I think we hit the iceberg in the 70s, and we just started taking all water out. Well, maybe we hit the iceberg in 1913, the Federal Reserve. Maybe that's when we first hit the iceberg. But things got really bad in the 70s when we decoupled from gold, and now we're just printing money like crazy. So I was telling people to buy Bitcoin back in 2014. I was even sending people Bitcoin through Twitter. There was a there was an app thing that they were trying to promote, and you could be like, "Here's a beer on me," and it would send you $3.50 worth of Bitcoin. And today that's probably like $350 or something because of how much Bitcoin was back then.
Yeah, I'm not a crypto guy by any means. I probably should have got on that a long time ago.
It's still early because if there's ever going to be 21 million made, there's not that many to go around, and all the institutional investors are kind of buy up as much Bitcoin as they can as a hedge for inflation. I would definitely. I'm not a financial advisor in any means, and that's not financial advice, but diversity I think is good in your money. A little bit of Bitcoin, a little bit of silver, a little bit of gold, some stocks, right? I think is not a bad idea.
We know
Ammo, a lot of ammo too.
yeah, we know they control things in a nuts and bolts type of way against us, but what are your thoughts on maybe more spiritual or behind the scenes, or you know, hidden hand type of occult type of shit?
I don't know if you know, it's hard for me to believe that there is any organized, super organized, like cult of Satanists doing anything, right? Do I think there's some depraved and sick people who kind of open themselves up to evil or demons, I guess? And you know, people like Diddy, people like Epstein,
Right.
and the people who operate them. I think there are, you know, people out there that do that stuff. But I think you're getting too deep in the weeds if you're thinking it's a death cult or you know, they're sacrificing babies. I think it's a step too far.
We're pretty deep in the weeds around here.
Do you think
I
we went
mean,
to the
I know,
moon?
like I do a show with Jason Burmis. He actually was one of the producers, I think, on that Loose Change documentary.
Oh wow.
And we talk a lot of conspiracy stuff and the transgenderism and transgender imperative and all that stuff. And I always go back to the same thing, and it's people are kind of stupid and they make a lot of mistakes and they're really egotistical and they run their mouths. And it's really hard for me to believe that people are that good at keeping secrets. You know, it's really hard for me to believe that people are that good at keeping secrets. And um, I think there's plenty of people who are manipulating things for power and money, but I don't know if like that. I don't think it's hard for me to think that, yeah, we're gonna like sacrifice a baby and do weird sex orgy stuff because we're so rich we're bored or whatever. I don't know. That seems like for me, like the whole Bohemian Grove, I think it's a psyop.
Very
I
well
think
could be,
Alex
yeah.
Jones works for them, works for the
Wow.
government.
Controlled up.
Yep, controlled opposition, I believe. Because that's one thing I do believe. I think there are very powerful people who can limit reach, right? They can turn down your antenna. They can make less people see your posts. They can make less people see you. They cannot give as much attention to you. In my opinion, anybody who's actually getting blasted and getting a lot of attention, it's manufactured. There's somebody got a hook at them somewhere because they could just flip the switch and that guy's gone.
Yeah. I tend to agree if
They
you're
they don't have to tolerate it. You know, the powerful people, the rich people. If Hillary Clinton really has all these body counts, like why would they let Joe Rogan keep running his mouth?
yeah, info's
Why would
only
Alex Jones? Why wouldn't he have gotten in a drunk driving accident a long time ago?
only pushed as hard as they'll allow it to.
You
They'll
know,
only
it
gain as much
seems like there's
traction
a
as they
lot of
push.
things that you know, even like yeah, even the Sandy Hook stuff. I think all that it's one big psyop. I think they set him up to say those things, and now everybody's talking about this stuff, and not the monetary system collapsing, not the wars in other countries, not poverty and the homeless people. None of those things get talked about. Everybody's talking about this crazy shit.
One of my favorite ones is the moon. Do you think we went to the moon?
Man,
I don't think so.
I used to really believe it, but it's too much time has passed. It makes zero sense. It makes zero sense. You're telling me, oh, there's no money in it. Bullshit. I talked about this on my show for a bit. I had a little rant. Bullshit. There's no billionaires that are like, I'm gonna get a moon rock, bitch. Like, nobody's gonna fucking put the money up to take a space ride to the moon. Bullshit. Bullshit. Especially all these you know, clout chasing streamers and whatever. They're gonna find ways to make the money. Mr. Beast isn't going to the moon. My ass. How much
If
is it going to cost? We sent people up to the moon with less technology than what's in my phone.
Exactly.
That seems, that seems iffy.
if we
No.
if we went to the moon 10 years after, there would be hotels up there. It would be a huge tourist industry. Not one other country has sent a live person to the moon since. That's I don't know. Come on, man.
Not a single person.
Not
Not
one.
even like a cool drone. Like maybe you should be able to like set a cool drone and firework display or some shit on 4th of July or something that shoots lasers off of it on the 4th of July. Something cool. Nope.
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen something that you would consider like a ghost or something? I personally haven't. I'm open to them to there being a possibility of them. I just haven't seen anything with my own eyes that I can say, yeah, that is. Do you have any stories like that maybe?
So, I got two stories.
Nice.
One, driving in high school at night, um, look up and it's far away. I see a light. It's moving way too fast and too like erratically to be a plane or a helicopter or whatever. That was a few seconds. This took off. There was a trail and it was gone. I was like, what the fuck? So that happened. I saw something weird in the sky. No idea what that could have been. And that was, over 20 years ago. Um, and then I had a friend down in uh uh Huntington Beach, going to Irvine, UC Irvine. All right. So I'd go to Irvine, stay down there, and in the house, they had mentioned that they thought there was a ghost, like a little kid, little girl ghost there, and that people commonly would fall asleep and get sleep paralysis in the house, right? Like all the time, like people who would always fall asleep would get sleep paralysis in the house. They said they thought it was because the little girl spirit was like holding them down. And then the thing with little girl is like you'd never like see her. It was always you would see in your periphery her reflection or something in a mirror, right? So you'd come out of the shower, you whatever, and you just see a blur. And you'd look, and then it would be gone. But like I had a couple of experiences where I thought I saw something in my periphery, and then I got the sleep paralysis like 4 or 5 times in that house.
Oh shit.
And you never had a sleep paralysis before or since?
A couple times in my house when I was a kid, nothing I was concerned about. But I don't know if anything real happened or maybe it was suggestive. Maybe it was
Okay.
people talking about it and then it gets suggested and then now it's in your head, right?
Hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? I'm not
Yeah.
necessarily a believer in any of that stuff, but whatever. I can take a note that something weird happened.
Flat
Yeah,
Earth or round Earth?
that's an easy one.
What's that? Flat Earth, round Earth? I'm still uh a round Earth because um we have sailors. We have people who navigate the seas using just the stars. And if somebody can, I would think they would be able to tell by looking at the stars, like where they're at. I think you should be able to use math. I'd seen somewhere that it said you can drive a straight line or sail a straight line from Alaska to India, but the only way that's possible is if the Earth is a globe. Because if it wasn't a globe, then you would have to go around edges and stuff.
I'm a
Right.
Glober too. Yeah.
But I will say this, in my older years, I realized that a lot of what we've been told is bullshit. And if you haven't been able to apply the scientific method in some sort on your own to a subject, you really don't know. You really don't know anything. So I'm looking at everything as an interesting theory. That's an interesting theory. Unless I know for sure because I experienced it, because I could do the experiment myself. I could do the A/B testing myself, right? I can hold my glass and let go and it's gonna fall. I'm gonna be like, okay, yeah, that gravity thing, I get it. Right. I can, drive my car and hit the brakes and feel myself move forward. Like, oh, inertia. I see that things in motion do tend to stay in motion. I can prove that myself. But if I can't prove it myself, I'm at the point now where I'm like, it's interesting. Because a lot of like the political stuff nowadays, it's just who knows what's real. And most of it I have no control over, and it doesn't really personally affect me straight up. So like, interesting. Okay, thanks. Like, it's hard for me to get invested in.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with it, especially same like you said, knowing that most of what we have been taught is a lie. It makes it hard for me to trust anyone. And I just have a distrust of NASA who lied to us about going to the moon and was started by Nazis, started by Freemasons. So just I'm skeptical of whatever it is they're trying to tell us.
Mhm.
Aliens.
There's
What are
a
your thoughts?
there's a comedian named Owen Benjamin that I
Oh hell yeah.
And he goes hard on the moon landing and flat Earth and a lot of stuff.
He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's an
Interesting
interesting
points of
one.
view. He's made me think about a few things pretty hard. He's not real keen on crypto though.
No,
He's a smart guy though. So when he is talking about, he's very persuasive. I know what you mean. He has opened my mind to a few things too that I thought, no fucking way. But yeah, no,
I
Owen
think you have to
Benjamin.
understand what he's doing at first because he's I don't even think he believes some of the stuff he says. He's just trying to make people think. So he'll say the most outrageous thing to be like, why, like, why do you believe what you believe? Like, I don't even know if he's actually a flat earther, but I think like he wants to make you explain why you think the globe, why it's a globe, why is it round? Like, do you actually know, or are you just accepting it because somebody told you?
for sure. His ability to mock and like parody things is fucking hilarious. And I think that's probably what he's doing a little bit too, just kind
Yeah,
of parodying everybody and everybody's belief systems.
yeah. Oh no, because yeah, like all the stuff he was saying about Bitcoin and crypto was hilarious because it is like I got out of the space, like I held on to my stuff, but like I got out of that space because it was like in 2018, 2017, it was like kind of toxic and annoying and gross and a lot of just grifters. And I was like, man, I don't like most of this stuff I don't believe in. I believe in the technology behind the Bitcoin. I believe in like our monetary system falling apart and needing a hedge, but I don't want to deal with these scammers and these what were they? The initial stake offering or whatever they're the ICOs or ISOs or whatever that they were doing. It was I don't know, it was crazy time. And then another cycle comes through and we get the NFTs and all that crazy shit. I don't even know what's going on now. I'm just holding on to my Bitcoin.
Dude, the NFTs, I thought I still don't understand why anybody would want an NFT. I just fucking screenshot it. You know,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
I don't understand why people ever thought that was a thing. Do you believe in aliens? I'm a huge alien guy. I don't know what the fuck they are, but
I don't think so. I mean um like squids and octopuses I think are probably aliens.
no
I think
doubt.
a lot of us like because unless unless there is some technology that allows people to travel faster than the speed of light, the universe is too big for there to be aliens to ever get to us. So there were like that's two things I would have to believe in. Like I would have to believe in this technology that just snaps life forms, billions of light years away from each other into each other's space. Uh, I think it's more likely that we have a lot of government drone and spy programs, and you know, we don't hear about a lot of these things because um, our government doesn't want us to be scared. It doesn't want us to know about different spy things coming over. Remember, there was like a Chinese spy balloon not
Yeah,
long
that
ago,
was hilarious.
and they just kind of pushed that under the rug. I think we're doing the same thing to them. I don't think we know all the technology of the things that our government has. So I don't know. I think a lot of it's just um, misdirection too. I think the government will put time and energy and money into fake programs to make people think that that's a real thing. It's a distraction. It's a distraction uh, to truth seekers, I guess, and it's a distraction to other governments because these other governments are like, oh, wait, they got aliens over there. Oh shit, who knows what kind of crazy alien technology they might have. So I think they use our tax money and they print more money to do stupid programs, like the whole like psychic goat program thing. That was a real thing. I think there's that guy who talks about the spaceship, and I think that guy really thinks he saw what he saw and he was being paid to do what he was being paid to do. But I think everything was fake. And he
Bob
just
Lazar.
yeah, Bob Lazar, right? I think he was lied to. I think he believes everything and he saw things, but I think it was just all a big trick and he wanted to believe, so it's probably a lot easier to trick him.
Well, he even said too that his words were, they could have totally been feeding me this to puppet because I guess the word around town was that he was kind of a big mouth at the bar. He did kind of have a loose mouth, so I mean it kind of feeds into exactly what you were saying. Do you
Yep.
think that's kind of what like, recently David Grush has been, going before Congress and doing all that BS and he is openly he's intelligence. So
Distraction. It's 100%, I think, a distraction. People are
yeah,
talking about that and what's going on with the banks right now, what's going on with debt. How
Yeah.
long is the housing market going to be propped up? How long is the stock market going to keep getting propped up with printed money and companies buying back their own stock?
I mean, yeah, trying to just give something else to think about as the empire is crumbling. And it's funny what you said, that you think it could have all just been, orchestrated from the beginning and they pumped money into it. One of our guests before, Walter Bosley, I'm not sure if you've heard of him, but he was the first to say, or the first that I've ever heard at least say, that Roswell was like a double, triple psyop, that Roswell's crash was one of our crafts. Like we had a top secret craft we were testing, it crashed, and then because they didn't want either our rivals or the public to know that we were flying around some crazy high tech shit, that they instead used it as an opportunity to be like, all right, aliens, we'll tell them it was an alien crash, and then they'll think we have an alien epidemic at hand, and we can use that to our advantage. And then plus our enemies will think, yeah, we're reverse engineering alien technology. Really, we have the technology to do this while we keep them on gasoline and buying paying for electricity and shit. Meanwhile, we could be zooming around in Jetsons UFOs.
Got space lasers.
Yeah.
we do have a space force now. Trump made that so.
Yep. No, I
And
mean, like, I don't know if you guys remember this, if you're old enough for this, but there was a movie back in the 80s called Spies Like Us,
I've
right?
never
And that
seen
whole
it.
thing,
mhm.
it was Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. And the whole thing was kind of talking about Ronald Reagan's space program, right? Because they had the space laser stuff. They were supposed to shoot down nukes. Like they were selling that, like that was a real thing back in the 80s. We still don't have that shit. We still don't have space lasers. Like
Some people think nukes don't exist.
that's another
I mean dinosaurs too.
own mentioned conspiracy.
Have
They
you
were
heard the dinosaurs don't exist, people?
I've heard that because it's interesting because their claim is like they haven't ever found a full skeleton of any of these dinosaurs.
Not even close, yeah.
Yeah, they found like 10% of a skeleton, and they just recreate the rest of it. They find a toe and a heel, and they're like, look at this fucking raptor that kills things and eats goats and whatever. It's like I have no idea.
I mean, when I was growing up, dinosaurs had scales. Now supposedly they have feathers. So who knows? Yeah.
I like to think they could have been dragons. Maybe dragons were real, and there
Well,
was
that's what a lot of people think that that's why the word that dragon, the image of the dragon and talking about the dragon is so universal in different cultures at different time periods. And I think maybe that because they did maybe unearth some of the dragons or they found some fossils that made them think that that was a dragon.
I don't know. Dragons is a hard one for me to jump on, and I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd. So like, no one would want dragons to be real more than me, but that's a hard one for me, you know.
so I would think it would have been, let's say, I don't know how I subscribe to the timeline of how old the Earth is, or how old or how long ago dinosaurs would have been around. But let's say it was some type of ancient reptile, and some of them survived until humans were around, or maybe they were around with early primitive human, and there were small populations of them left over in the jungle or in a cave or some shit, and the villagers and whatever knew, like, hey, don't go over there, you're gonna get fucking eaten by this like big prehistoric creature, like some huge alligator or something of the sort, a large snake or just reptilian thing. So that's when the most badass hero or knight, or they would send the village to go slay the dragon because there was some sort of threat.
That was what is it? Beowulf was like one of the first written stories ever. Was the guy going out and fighting the dragon?
Yeah, endless tales of
But no,
that.
I was watching something about this the other day. Because there's like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs that look like brontosauruses. There's caveman paintings of different like big lizard looking things. Like so, there's a lot of like drawings of humans with things that look like some type of giant reptile.
Right. And then you got the Chinese zodiac, which is all real
Maybe they
animals.
just draw elephants funny.
And then a dragon. Like, why would their zodiac thing have all real animals and then one fake animal? It's like, I would assume if they had other fake animals, they would have thrown a unicorn or a griffin or something else up there too. So who knows?
I
Why?
know.
What else?
I know. I know that dragons weren't real. I know that much. Um, well, John, it's always fun talking to you, brother. I really appreciate you doing this. I know it's been a minute, but yeah, man, where can everybody get some more of your stuff? I know you mentioned that you do a couple of shows and everything.
Yeah, you can go to johnfish.net, sign up for the newsletter. I've got all my stuff links up there. I need to redo it, but everything's up there. Jon Fitch Smash on Instagram, johnfitch.net spelled out on Twitter. Yeah, I'm pretty easy to reach through DMs. Official Jon Fitch is my YouTube page. I do online instruction with people, fighting stuff, jujitsu, weights, whatever. And then I have stuff on my Gumroad. So if you guys check all my link stuff in my descriptions on my videos or on my social media accounts, you go to the Gumroad. I got online programs for lifting, nutrition, cardio, and a lot of my seminars and teaching. I film stuff and I put little packages and programs together for people so they can get some extra education outside of their normal training place.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on, bro. True legend, true pioneer of the sport. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'll check you guys later.
You got it.
Take it easy. Thanks, man. Jon Fitch, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
Gangster.
Let's tomorrow we have Matt Slap.
Sick.
So let's do the post Jon Fitch before we do the Matt Slap.
Yeah, I'm down. Let's go.
By the way, I won
You won?
14. I won
Let's
14.
go.
I won $1,400 today.
Amazing.
My wife won 1,400 too, because I told her to bet the same ones.
Let's go, bro. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, bro, it's stupid. Anyway, I'm happy.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's go.
That was cool because like the first 20 minutes was kind of like his MMA shit. And then we just kind of like rapid fired a bunch of shit, you know, and it was good. I think we should try to keep the MMA one. Well, Paulson doesn't, I'm not putting Paulson in the MMA category because we're gonna, you know, it's gonna be a small part, a very small part, you know. But I think we should generally keep like the true MMA guests an hour and under because they're least performing. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. For sure.
But yeah, like Paulson, that's not, we can go 2 hours with him.
Dude,
you
he's
know,
gonna be, I'm
yeah,
telling you.
we'll go 2 hours with him. But yeah, no, that was good. I like how we rapid fired. I like how he's so grounded with some things, and then other things he's like, oh yeah, I totally believe that. You know?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I like him.
Fights against the system, so it's already built into him.
No doubt. All right, bro. I'm gonna fucking go smoke a cigarette and be giddy for a little bit.
Hell yeah.
All right, bro.
What time for Matt?
I don't think we figured a timeout. I don't think I put a time on it yet.
Anything
I know
really works for me in the evening, so
okay. Yeah, I know I told him Wednesday because I know that that's good for both of us. I just didn't put a time on it. So I'm guessing probably around 7-ish is gonna work for him. I think that's what we did last time. So
sweet.
yeah, plan for like at least an hour and a half with that one because
Yeah, it'll be a good one.
he goes.
Right.
Yeah. All right, bro.
Sweet.
All right, bye.
Later.